Hey everyone, my name is Dante and welcome back to Story Hub, your hub for the best stories on Reddit. Yesterday I came in for my shift in the morning, without thinking about mother-in-law at all. I got changed, had a cup of coffee, looked at who I was going to be paired with and when my partner and I walked out of the police station to go to the patrol car, I saw mother-in-law. She did kind of come up to me, not close enough for a conversation but close enough so that I could hear her. She started to say something about my boyfriend and the money she needs. I saw her but I totally ignored her. I just walked past her without saying a word and went straight to the patrol car to start my shift. And the fact that I ignored her annoyed her pretty badly, I guess. She stepped back a bit, waited till we got into the car and just before we turned on the engine and started to drive, she grabbed a rock from a nearby flower bed and threw it to the windshield of our car. The windows of our patrol cars are quite durable, fortunately. It cracked but didn't shatter and I didn't end up with a face full of glass. I wasn't driving. My partner was driving and it was obvious that she aimed her throw right at the passenger seat where I was at. Then she probably realized that doing that to a police car in front of two police officers in front of a police station wasn't the smartest thing to do and she turned around and took off running. I got out and ran after her. This pursuit wasn't very long. She only made it till the park that's not far from the police station when I caught her. And that's when she started to make the biggest scene I had ever seen. Mother-in-law had no intention of calmly letting me put handcuffs on her. Instead, she dropped to the ground and started to yell for help. Mind you, it was an early morning but there were already quite a lot of people in the park. Some were walking their dogs, some were jogging, some were just walking through to get wherever they needed. She was yelling at the top of her lungs, "People, good people, help me. I'm being abused. Call the police. This one is not a real police officer. He's trying to kidnap me," and things like this. She was yelling for help so loudly that everyone in that park stopped whatever they were doing and looked at us. Everyone. Men, women, children, dogs, and cats. There was not a single person that wasn't looking at us. You might think that I'm a man and she's a woman, so I should be able to hold her down but really it's not that simple. She was hitting and scratching and biting. She was spitting at me. Also, during the struggle, she kicked me several times, quite hard and painful. Honestly, at this point, I had all the rights to tase her. I didn't. My partner came with the car. He helped me and together we managed to handcuff her. The next problem was getting her into the patrol car. Our patrol cars are like vans. The back door opens and there's like a cage with a bench where you can put the person in. And mother-in-law wasn't going to get in there without a fight. Even with her hands cuffed, she was kicking the door, spreading her legs very wide so that we couldn't get her in, and when we got her in, she was putting her feet in the doorway so we couldn't close the door. While she was doing all this, she never stopped to yell that we're breaking her bones, that we have no rights to treat her like this, that this is against the law, and still asking the people to call the real police. During my whole career as a cop, I had never had an arrest like this. I have arrested many drunk people, many aggressive people, many weird people, but this right here was the stupidest thing ever. We took her to the police station and if we had troubles getting her in the car, now she didn't want to get out. She held onto the bars and we literally had to grab and pull her out. Once inside, mother-in-law immediately demanded to see the captain. She wasn't listening when we tried to explain that the captain isn't going to do anything for her and shouldn't be bothered with this. She insisted that she has the right to see someone superior, and technically she's right. So we went to get a captain for her who recognized her from the last time and wasn't too happy to see her. Mother-in-law said that she wants to complain about this officer while pointing at me. She said that I abused my power, used way too much strength on her and didn't even care that she's a fragile woman, that I twisted her hands and brutally pushed her into the car. The captain asked to see my body camera. This is one of the reasons why we use body cameras all the time. If the suspect says one thing and the officer says something different, then you can watch the recording and see what actually happened. So, the captain played the recording for all of the present to see and he asked mother-in-law, "What's this, ma'am?" As she was clearly ignoring my orders on camera. Mother-in-law was like, "This is me fighting for my life. It's a survival instinct." I thought he would take the gun and shoot me right in the head. The captain was like, "No, ma'am, this is you resisting arrest. If an officer is giving you a lawful order, you're supposed to listen, and if you don't listen, the officer has the right to use a certain amount of force to detain you." Mother-in-law said I take no orders from fags. While glaring at me, she was charged with vandalism, fleeing from the police, resisting arrest and assaulting an officer. And just as she was going to be taken to jail, mother-in-law suddenly started to complain that she's not feeling well. She said her heart hurts and she's dizzy and her blood pressure is too high and she wanted an ambulance. Everyone realized that she's faking, but just to be sure that we're not mistaken and she didn't die when arriving at the jail, we called an ambulance. The medics came and examined her. Just like we thought, she was fine. Her heart rate was normal, her blood pressure was normal, she had no need to be hospitalized. I was just thinking, what do you think would have happened, mother-in-law? The charges don't disappear just because the person is taken to hospital. She probably didn't know that even if she was hospitalized, an officer would have gone there with her and stayed with her all the time. And as soon as she was okay again, she would be transported to jail anyway. She wouldn't sneak away if that's what she was thinking of doing. The ambulance left and even though our captain is a very calm and composed man, at this point he seemed very irritated. He was like, "Ma'am, is the circus over or are you going to give us more nonsense?" Mother-in-law then asked him if he was going to punish me and he answered that no, he's not going to punish an officer simply because I was doing my job. And then my mother-in-law looked straight at him and went, "Are you gay too?" I froze. Really quick, if you're enjoying the video, don't forget to drop a like. I couldn't believe that she really just asked that to a captain. I know he's not gay but this was probably the most inappropriate thing she could have done. He knows I'm gay because I was forced to come out to him when mother-in-law tried to cause trouble for me the first time. He ordered her to be taken to jail immediately, and even then she still had the audacity to speak. She insisted on having a phone call so that she could call her son and he could pay her bail. I'm not sure why she thinks my boyfriend is going to bail her out this time when he didn't do it last time. I called him first and I told him that his mother was arrested, and he seemed quite delighted as he's so tired of her. The captain offered my boyfriend to come to the station and see the recording if he wants, but we really don't want to show ourselves as a gay couple more than absolutely necessary. Mother-in-law did call my boyfriend and he refused to bail her out, so she'll have to stay in the cell till her trial. Since she already has a record, I'll be surprised if she's not given jail time this time. Not the idiot. It's cool that your captain offered to let your boyfriend see the recording. Easy way of setting any hard feelings and potential arguments. I can imagine that it is tough for officers to arrest friends and family not just because of confronting that person but then having to explain yourself over and over to everyone else. Not the idiot. I read your stories a while back and just had this one pop up for me. My heart goes out to you and your boyfriend. I hope your mother-in-law gets what she deserves and you can finally have some peace of mind. Hopefully I will soon get to read a new post about this butch being served in court with a massive jail time slapped on her homophobic face. Now for the next story. So, some years ago, my father was a building inspector in the government. He had a set area of buildings he had to maintain, meaning he would go to the buildings owned by the government and do regular inspections on the cooling, heating, generators, etc. He would also be in charge of maintenance schedules, getting contractors for repairs and new installations and so on. So the one particular site is an office building, with a large open plan layout sharing large air conditioning units to cool the area. Obviously, if a large group of people share an office space, the temps are set to a general temp to accommodate the majority of the people, with the understanding, if it is too cold, bring a sweater. Then he started getting complaints the acts are set too cold. He would go, check the temp, check the unit, and all seems to be working correctly, set to 20 degrees Celsius. After numerous complaints, my father went to the people in the office and asked who had what problem. Suddenly, most of the people complained that the temp was not ideal for them. The one wants it colder, the other wants it hotter. My dad asked them how they expect him to control the temp around their individual desks if they share a large AC unit. They pretty much shrugged and kept complaining. Having had enough of stupid people, my father got a contractor to install individual temp switches on every desk, with a cable running into the floor, and explained that all of them could now change the temp to their desired setting. But then the power cable for each of these switches just stopped when they entered the floor below. They were not connected to anything. Little dummy switches. He left a note in the building file for the next inspector about the little wires coming out of the roof below the office. He said he regularly followed up with the people in that office if they are happy, and he said he never got complaints after that. They were very happy with his service and that they could control their own temp. Not the idiot. Reminds me of a story I read a while back of a building operator who could not get the office workers to stop messing with the thermostat. Even locking it behind a box didn't work. The box would be broken and the settings messed with anyway. Finally, he rigged up a thermostat that didn't actually do anything, and then another one hidden carefully that he could control remotely, solved the problem entirely. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed, don't forget to like and subscribe.